Okay, so we're going to go over placement and edits of the T-intersection civil cells. These cells are kind of modular or component based, where you basically come in and choose the type of intersection you want to place. We're going to place the basic T urban, but we've also got a basic T rural. Both of these are new construction, and then you've got a overlay and widening also of the urban and the rural. After that, we'll do some modification, probably show you how to do some of the horizontal edits to the basic T. Then we're going to come back and place a turn lane, add a turn lane, and then we're going to also place an island and a median nose cell. Alright, so let's move forward. We're going to place this basic T urban. Alright, so it's asking for the references, which are through road edge of pavement, which is going to be that element there. And then the secondary road center line, profile a minimum of 75 feet. And that geometry looks good, so I'm going to reset and accept that cell. Okay, so after placement, I'm going to actually use a template display rule here to turn off the curb and gutter and the sidewalk and the end conditions through the intersection there. So before I do that, I'm going to actually take a look at this template, this primary road template here. And if you'll see, there's a couple of null points, or intersection to left, intersection to right. So when I test these, you can see when I move that turns off everything outside the edge of pavement. So I need a way to trigger that. So what is actually triggering it? I'll just look at the point property. So a match line, which there is a match line element in the cell. The problem is I can't target it because it would create a circular dependency. But what I can do is I can come in here and add a parametric constraint or a label here and actually apply it as a parametric constraint. So I'm going to hit apply there. I'm going to go choose the intersection right, and I'm going to put int unbar right. And so basically what, how this works is if this point moves, so if that point moves to the left, it shuts that down. So what would, a way to move it to the left is apply a parametric constraint called intl, and whatever that value is, if it's a -1 or -10 or -100, it's going to move that point to the left, and which is going to shut off the curb, the sidewalk, and all that. So I'm going to hit OK. Alright, and then I'm going to go to corridor objects. And I'm going to choose the this through road corridor. I'll go to parametric constraints, and I'm going to hit add new, and I'm going to add intersection left. And I'm going to set that value to -1. And I'm not going to get real precise. If I wasn't making any more changes to this intersection, I'd probably snap to the PC and the PC. That would probably be my beginning and end. But we're going to do a bunch of editing here, so I'm going to just approximately there and approximately there, and then we'll come back and adjust that later on. Alright, and this should turn off our, all that through road, curb and gutter and sidewalk and end conditions through that intersection there. Alright, then I'm going to come in and make I'm going to turn off construction class elements. And then we're going to look at some edits here. Okay, so one of the things I'm fixing to do is I'm fixing to select that right edge over here, and I want to change this to like a 85-foot radius. So if I do that, I can tell before I actually make that change, that fillet there is dependent on this turn lane control element right there, and that PC point can't extend beyond that. So if I change that to 85, that's actually going to, I guess you'd call it, break that cell, or your triangulation there is just not going to look real good. So really the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come right in this area there, right click, and grab that turn lane control, and I'm going to just make this, extend this element, which all that is just copied right on top of the edge of pavement. It's just a partial right on top of the edge of pavement, but I'm going to make it like 150. Alright, and then I'm going to come over here and do the same thing there, because I'm going to actually, instead of making this a 85-foot radius, I'm actually going to make this simple curve on this side like a 3-center curve. So I need room to do that, so I'm going to change that to 150 also. I'm going to grab that element, which that is the center line control element. I'm going to also change it to 150. And that number is just somewhat a guess. I know 85-foot radius is going to fit inside of this. Alright. So next, like I said, we're going to come in now and change this to like 85 feet. Alright, and then we're going to come over and change this side. So I said instead of 85, I'm actually going to change this to like 50. And then I'm going to go to element properties. And then I'm going to open this up, select the fillet. And then what I'm going to do is actually change the back transition to a curve. And then I'm going to give it a radius of 125 with a length of, we'll say 25. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this ahead transition. Change that to curve. Radius, I'm going to change that to 125 and change the length to 25. So really what I just did there, I just changed that simple curve to a 3-center curve. You can see this is all holding up well there. The last edit I'm going to make, if you'll see these little, these are lane lines right there. Well, let me talk about one more edit. So if I choose this element there, that's how you would control your lane width. We're going to leave it 12 feet. Well, I'll tell you what, let's make this, let's make that 18. Choose that. I'm going to make that negative 18. Alright, then I'm going to come in and modify this. So if you'll watch the 3D view here, you can see the triangulation. This is really just a way to, we've got a 2% slope for this element there. We haven't talked much about vertical yet, but it's a 2% slope. So really what this allows me to do is, so if I come in here and make this edit here, I'm going to change that to like 60 and watch the 3D view. Well, basically what that does, that allows you to carry that 2% slope further down towards the pavement. Really kind of lets you control, you know, where you stop that 2% slope off the center line there. I'm going to actually make it like 70, I think. And then I'm going to come in and change the side there Instead of 20, I'm going to change this side to like 50. And maybe change it to 55. Actually, 50 look better, so I'll change it back to that. Kind of lines up fairly well with the other side. But you can see what that does. Like I said, looking at that element in properties, if we'll scroll down, you can see that 2% slope. And you could reslope that if needed. Alright, so my last little horizontal edit, I'm going to actually come back in and choose this right click until I get to that turn lane control. And I'm going to come in and change that offset from 0 to -12. Alright, so basically what I did, I made room for a turn lane. And then what we'll do next is actually go place a turn lane civil cell. Okay, so I'm going to place civil cell. And I'm going to go choose the turn lane urban exit. And then first prompt, road edge of pavement profile, minimum 150 feet. And then data point at storage lane start, which that's going to be at the PC there. And that geometry looks good, so I'll reset and accept that cell. So that looks good. I mean, we could come in here if we want to and go to corridor objects. Go to parametric constraints. And move this back a little bit there, that stop station. To kind of clear this off so we can see it. That's that intersection left parametric constraint. So as far as edits on this turn lane civil cell, so if you grab the edge of pavement there, you can also change the length of the storage lane or the taper here. I think I'm going to just change that storage lane length to make it 100 feet. And then the taper is a variable offset taper, so if you wanted to change it, initially it's a 75-foot taper, but you could change that there as well. Alright, I think I'm going to just leave that length as is. Vertical wise on this, if we grab that, I think you're going to see -2%. If you did have super out here, you could, utilize the profile by variable slope command to project slopes. And so if you did create a new profile, right, you could obviously change that -2% slope here to whatever you want. But if you had some different slope, right, if you were in super and you were transitioning back to maybe normal crown right here, and if you open this profile up and you created a new profile by using profile by variable slope or whatever, just making it active is not going to adjust this storage lane and taper area. It's not going to adjust the model there. And what you're going to have to do is whatever, if you do come in and create a new profile here, and I think it's important, you could, so what you're going to have to do is you're going to also, if you do create a new profile down here, is you have to go to corridor objects here, and you have to manually change that profile element name there. So just drawing a new profile, making it active is not going to switch that, because this is looking at a specific profile name. So whatever that new name is, you give the new profile, you'd have to come in here and do that, change it there. Alright, and so we'll talk about island civil cells next. So I think again I'm going to just turn off construction class, and I'm going to go ahead and place an island civil cell. And so from the T intersection, we've got an island right, an island left, and a island single here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this island right. And then just kind of going through the prompts, through road edge of pavement, that's clearly going to be that. Secondary road center line, really doesn't matter if you choose the center line or the partial offset there that's controlling the length of that cell. Either way will probably be fine. Secondary road edge of pavement, this is where you want to choose the that trimmed element right there. Curve EP, we're going to grab that. And then the lane line, so this is where you'd come in and actually choose that. Alright, and then you can see the direction of arrows. The geometry looks really good. The direction of arrows looks really, really good as well. So that, we'll just go ahead and say reset and accept this cell. I wanted to look also as far as these islands. Yeah, so there's also, you also have the ability, if you do not have a lane line, there is also a island right cell without the lane line reference, right? So if you didn't have this and you wanted to create an island, instead of 5 references there, it'd be 4, right? So we had the edge of pavement, the secondary road center line, secondary road edge of pavement, we had the curve, or what is the complex element, and the cell we chose, right, we also had to choose a lane line. And again, if you don't have a lane line, you want to place this cell, there's a cell for that, right, that just has 4 references instead of 5. All right, so that's placement. You can see this cell is setting really nicely on top of this surface. We'll talk about edits next here, but the reason it's setting so nicely on the surface here is really because we're recreating, we actually have a terrain that's in the island cell, which you can actually see it actually ends. So there's one there. I don't think that's that surface template there. But we've basically got an island, I mean a terrain that's basically going from the center line over this way over here. I think I can actually grab it. Just grab that. Go to, I'll try that one more time. So grab that. I'm going to go over here to terrains. And so here's the actual island civil cell. So our 4 profiling islands there. So there it is right there. Not what you see highlighted, but what you see selected right over here. All right, so that one there. And so it basically is the same thing as what's in the T intersection cell, except it's only for this side over here. But that's why we're getting really good. That's why we're sitting right on top of this surface, is where the T intersection itself has that island. Pavement's called pavement surface. It's carrying that surface template, and then the island cell also has a terrain in it, and that matches that, the same elevation as this terrain here. And so that's why we're sitting so good and on top of that surface there. Just like I said, we'll go over a few edits, horizontal, vertical edits next. All right, so as far as edits, you really just need to grab the this edge of pavement here, that EOP island, and then we just make adjustments to the location as needed. And I'm gonna come in and make this like a -16, and then a -16 here. All right, so you can come in there and make adjustments to that to scoot that island over. think on this particular side here, I'm going to make that instead of a -2, I'm going to make it like -6. So we'll have a little recovery area there if we need some. Now, occasionally it is possible that you're going to lose this island on some of these edits. I hadn't hit one yet, right? It's all holding up pretty good. Let me I'm gonna make a change to this side right here and just see if it'll kind of break. Yeah, and so it really didn't disappear, but you can see I'm getting an error here. And so I'm gonna do an undo there. Let me tell you a little bit what's going on. And so basically, so when we made this edit here, so everything held up pretty good, and we just kind of got a little bit lucky, because what's going on once you actually change these offsets, you can see what's being introduced is really a kink right here at the PC. In other words, that point right there, you can physically see that that curve is no longer tangent to this. And so if you do run into an edit, or quite honestly, even if you do run into an issue, is what I was trying to say, where you see a warning, or this terrain, this surface area just disappears on you or something like that, the solution for actually fixing that is to actually match this taper angle right here. In other words, so we just introduced a taper, right? So what we did, we came in and introduced a taper. We made that 4 feet, and this size 2 feet, so that would be a taper. And so what you would do, and an easy way to do this, if you'll right click a few times here, there's going to be an element here. Run through it one more time. Oh, it's on construction class, so you're going to have to cut construction class back on. But this is kind of just a little shortcut figuring out what that taper ratio is. And so basically I'm going to come in here and right click, like I said, a few times, and grab, there's a DNC, it's a construction class element under there, but that's what I've got. It is on construction class, but I would copy this, right? I would just right click and say copy that ratio, and then I would basically, to fix that, and quite honestly, there's really nothing to fix. If I wasn't worried about a little kink there, I probably wouldn't go any further. But to actually fix this, if we did see some problems like we saw a while ago, I would actually come in and first off, I've got to figure out what fillet that is, right? So I would come in and select this, and then I would go in, well, is it this fillet? Did I get that done? No, so it wasn't that one. So is it I'm going to grab this again. Is it the second fillet? Yes, it should be the second fillet, I think. And so I actually see which way this goes, right? So what we've got to do is put that ratio on this curve here, on the ahead tangent, right? Back tangent, head tangent. All right, and so to do that, and to kind of clean this up, again, I'm going to just choose this edge of pavement, and then I'm going to go to this second fillet, and then we're going to go to a head taper. We're going to add a length ratio. The length is going to be 0, but the ratio, so it's either going to be, so I'm going to paste this, the one I copied, right? So paste. And the only thing that could go wrong here is I'm not sure about the sign. That says -6.48. So we'll give that a try, and we'll see what it may be. So it went the opposite way, right? So what I would need to do to correct that is just come back and take that negative sign off now, right? I can tell that because I see more of a kink there. So I'm going to come back and go 1 to 6.48. And now if we'll come in and look, right, there is no kink there anymore. So I've basically added that ratio to this curve here. Alright, so that's pretty much it on the island, other than, I think, this last step. Right now we've got pavement, right, solid pavement up under this thing, and we want to get rid of that. So So what I'm going to just kind of quickly do is just open up a cross-section view. I think I'll just grab that, and then I'll do like a right click, locate station via data point, and then I'm going to locate a cross-section right through that island, which we can see it. And like I said, what we're fixing to do is I want to remove this. I don't want this full pavement depth through that island. And so to remove that, so you can't clip a surface template, right? So we can't go to corridor clipping and try to clip, because we can't clip a surface template. That's a terrain model. But what we can do is we can actually add that island as a hole or void to that, right, to the terrain that is driving that surface template there. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll go to terrain, and we'll go to add feature, select the terrain model. So I'm going to zoom out and just make sure I'm choosing the one that says pavement surface. And then this is not a spot. I'm going to just add a hole there. I'm going to come in and grab not the cell, but I'm going to right click, not the linear template, but I'm going to grab the complex element, that EOP, reset, and confirm that's a hole. And then if we come back and look at our cross-section view, now we've gotten rid of that, that pavement structure up under that island. All right, so that's pretty much it on the island cell. Okay, so as far as vertical, just some of the couple of the basic edits. This edge of pavement here, if you look at the negative 2% slope, obviously that could be changed there, which would control that fillet, or the elevation it takes off. You could open the profile model of that element if you wanted to do that, and just reprofile as needed. Or you could come back and maybe do a variable slope from element. And then if we'll look at this element here, same thing, negative 2% initially on that. That's your turn lane control element there. Alright, so if there is no super, probably what I'm going to do is kind of come in and I'm actually going to choose, just kind of do a swipe right through here with the element selection tool. I'm going to go to terrain models, and the for island profiling is in the island cell, so I'm actually going to grab the pavement surface terrain here, and I'm going to come in and turn on flow arrows. So I'll just double click that, and then I'm going to come back over here and just deselect, and you can see I've got flow arrows selected now. And then we're going to rotate the view. And what this will let me do is just kind of see where water's going. And see, see what I need to do profile wise. This side here looks pretty good. All the water's going away. This side here, we got water coming back. So let's just go change a profile of this area right in here. So to do that, I'm going to select that profile element there. Or select that edge of pavement there. I'm going to go to over here in Project Explorer or Element Properties. Right click, open profile model. I'm going to open up like view 3. And we've got that profile model open. And then really I'm going to just come in and reprofile this. So I'm going to probably choose this profile by complex elements. Curve length 20, that looks good. So enter my first VPI. And then the probably going to place about right there. And then I'm going to come in and come a little further down on this vertical on this side. And come back and snap there. reset. I'm going to select that element. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit more just to make sure we get that dropped a little bit. I'm going to actually pull this down just to turn off AccuSnap, but I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. And if I want to change the length of those curves, I can do that there. Change that to like 30. Change that to 30 as well. Alright, and then I'm going to just set this active. Okay, and then I'm going to have to come back down and choose this terrain model again. Let's turn those those flow arrows back on. You see now we've got that water going off all the way. You know, and this will help you, determine your inlet locations, if you need a curb cut somewhere. That's just kind of a quick overview of the vertical. And I think we had previously mentioned, the vertical of these lane lines there, that's just 2%, so you can change that grade as needed as well. Okay, so the last cell we're going to place is the median nose. So I'm going to come in here and do a place civil cell. We'll go choose the median nose. And then so it says locate the reference element geom CC underbar center line, and that's actually that element there. That's what it's talking about. That geometry looks good, so I'll reset and accept that cell. Okay, so we get this element placed there. I don't think I'm going to go through the vertical edits. You got to do, the vertical, we're just projecting 2%. This one actually is setting pretty good on the surface here. I'm actually going to go back to illustration, ignore lighting. So it's setting pretty good, but you would need to kind of go back and, apply the same technique I use for the island over here as far as reprofiling it. You want to look at these edge of pavements and just make sure they were on the surface element there. I'm not going to go through that, but I will go through a couple of edits here. So the first one, so to change this nose location, I'm going to just select that edge of pavement there, and we use actually Civil AccuDraw Delta Station there to do this. But so if you want to change this, if I want to move that back to 45, I can change that like that. Then if I want to change this median width, I can come in and just select this that offset. I'm going to change that to 5 feet. And then selecting the other side, you can see that I've got to actually be better just to select that intervals parent and come change that to -5. So that's kind of changing the width. And the last horizontal edit we're talking about is just this nose. Obviously you can change the nose radius from 3 feet to whatever you need, but also this element here, once you kind of look at your turning moment here, this intersection, if you want to come in and change that radius there, it's a 2-centered initially. If you want to come in and change that, you can do that. Okay, so that's kind of a summary of the modular-based T-intersection placement and edits. Maybe a few things we didn't cover. The next thing I would do, which I'm not going to take the time in the video to do this, but come back and just adjust the, your that intersection left parametric constraint. I'd move it back to line it up there, but I'm not going to do it in this video. May have to add a couple of key stations, possibly if you got a little gap there. Generally, you would put those just about 1/100th outside of the PC point there. That's just kind of, like I said, a quick overview of the T-intersection modular cells.